Hello, my name is Mark Parker, and I'm the Assistant Director of Intramural Sports at East Carolina University.
And I'm John Wall, Coordinator of Intramural Sports. We look forward to another exciting season of intramural sports here at ECU. Intramural sports serves as an opportunity for you to compete in a fun yet competitive environment. Through your participation, we hope that you acquire such skills as communication, teamwork, and leadership.
As a captain, you play a vital role in the success of your team as well as the intramural sports department as a whole. We look forward to working with you over the course of the year and wish you good luck during your sports seasons. Please do not hesitate to contact us if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Please stay tuned for the Intramural Sports Captain's video. We hope that you pay attention for the next 30 minutes or so, as this information will be very important to you as you become a captain within intramural sports, as well as helpful information when you take the Captain's Meeting quiz in the very near future. You can reach us at the phone number, email, and website listed on your screen. As far as social media goes, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or the InterPirate Network. The mission and goals of the department is to promote the development of healthy lifestyles, social and physical well-being, and leadership skills through participation in various sports and recreational activities. We hope that you guys are able to gain other parallel skills besides just participating in a competitive environment. They include leadership, healthy lifestyles, responsible citizenship, and sportsmanship. The intramural sports staff is comprised of 2 full-time staff members, Mark Parker and John Wall, as well as 4 students, Brent Wynn, who is our graduate assistant, along with 3 undergraduate program assistants, Jordan Richardson, Nick Lewis, and Cameron Donaldson. Please do not hesitate to call us at 328-1567 or email us at imsports@ecu.edu for any questions or concerns. Captain's responsibilities include attending the registration meeting or watching the video that you are currently watching. Also, you are responsible for knowing and implementing the various policies and procedures, communicating them to your team, as well as you assume the responsibility for the adherence of those policies. All of the policies and procedures are not supposed to be known at this current time. However, it is your responsibility to know where to find them at ecu.edu/intramurals under the intramural policy tab on the left-hand side. A couple other responsibilities: you're in charge of checking the playing schedules and communicating that schedule to your team. Promote fair play and good sportsmanship, ensuring all players are present at game time to avoid the forfeit fee. Ensure players possess proper identification for participation in each game. You as the captain can be responsible if the ID is illegal or that player is found to be illegal. And also represent all the team's actions related to participation, including protest, discipline matters, reschedule requests, forfeits, defaults, and any other various matter that may come up. Also, as a captain, it is necessary for you to let all of your teammates know that the Campus Rec and Wellness Department and its staff assume no responsibility for injuries received by any person during participation or involvement in any sponsored program or service. Participants are reminded that their participation in all facets of the program is on a voluntary basis and must be within their personal health status. If any of you or your teammates have any questions about this prior to the season starting, please contact the Intramural Sports office.
Intramural sports is separated into both team sports and individual dual sports. Within team sports, we have major team sports and minor team sports. The way that the season is formatted for major team sports is that you generally play 5 regular season games, which is followed by a single elimination playoff for qualifying teams. Minor team sports, 2 regular season games followed by a single elimination tournament for qualifying teams. The individual dual sports, you will play at least 1 match or game depending on the number of participants and the type of activities. For more information on that, we do have a calendar of activities underneath our website, which you can see on the screen. Within our different sports, we have leagues, which is Greek, which is typically fraternity and sorority, and then men's, women's, and co-rec leagues. In the divisions, we have men's independent, which is for anybody to play, as well as co-rec leagues, as well as women's open leagues. The rules for that is that any participant can play in 1 men's league or a female participant can play in one females league, and then you may also play in a co-rec league. A fraternity league is considered to be a men's team, so somebody cannot play on a fraternity team as well as a men's team. Same thing for women, they cannot play on a sorority team as well as a women's team. You can only play for one men or women's team, but you may play for co-rec. Gold division and purple divisions are usually separated once the playoffs have begun, depending on what sport it is, and all others will be in an open league. Purple and gold format, typically this is for team sports, and this is normally not decided until the playoffs, and it will be separated in gold, which is competitive, and purple, which is recreational. The criteria for dividing the teams into purple and gold will be decided by the intramural sports staff depending on the number of wins as well as the win percentage. In order to make it to the playoffs at all, you must have at least one win for the major team sports, and in the minor team sports, all you have to do is be eligible based on sportsmanship as well as not having any forfeits or defaults. And as far as individual and dual sports, it is up to the participant whether they want to participate in the purple and gold if those are offered. The different facilities that we use for intramural sports for all of our activities are Blunt Fields, Christian Berry Gym, the Student Recreation Center, North Rec Complex. For some of these places, you might need to have university registered parking. If you have any questions in regards to directions, please go to our website and we will have a link to where you can get directions to all the facilities. As far as practice times, if you guys are interested in doing that, at the North Recreational Complex, it is open for practice at 8 a.m. until dusk if space is available and whether it is open depending on the weather. As far as the Student Recreation Center, it's always open for free play, although you cannot reserve any courts for practice. If you're interested in reserving practice space for Christian Berry Gym, you need to contact Dean Morris at the given email address. And Blunt Field opens for practice at 8 a.m. until dusk, and once again, that depends on space and if it is open due to weather. Who can play? Current ECU students and current faculty and staff, and then the spouses and partners of either students or faculty and staff. However, they must be on the same team as the spouse or student who is attending ECU. For any faculty and staff or spouses or any completely web-based students that are not already members of the Rec Center, they must purchase a limited pass, which is $15 and can be purchased in room 128 of the Student Recreation Center. A clarification on a partner rule was put in this year. A partnership is defined as a personal relationship between two individuals who live together at the same address and share a common domestic life for no less than 12 months. If this is the case, you must show us proof of documentation prior to purchasing a limited pass. Documents may include but not limited to bank statements, bills, and contracts. To play intramural sports, you must show an ID, and so we ask that you let your team know that everybody that plays must have this ID before the game. If they're on the roster, all I need is a picture ID. It does not have to be a one card. However, if they are not listed on the score sheet, they have to show either a one card or they can show another type of ID, but must have a copy of their class schedule with a banner ID number on it. Our alcohol and substance policy, no individual, and this includes spectators, will be able to participate or spectate at an event under the influence of alcohol or any other controlled substance. We do charge a forfeit fee. The reason for this is to offset our cost for paying employees to be there. So you must be prepared to play promptly at game time. If you are the offended team, which means that you are the team that is there waiting to take the win, if the other team does not have enough players, you have two options. You can either take the victory or you can wait up to 10 minutes for the other team. If you decide to wait 10 minutes, you have to wait the full 10 minutes and cannot decide after 3 or 4 minutes that you want to take the victory. Once you make that decision, you must wait the full 10 minutes. If neither team is present, 10 minutes will automatically start and we will wait for both teams to get there up until those 10 minutes. A minimum number of players is different for each sport. And you will be able to see that in the policy manual. Also, you may contact the intramural office for details in regards to that. If you do forfeit, you will be charged a $20 forfeit fee, which can be paid in room 128 of the Student Recreation Center. A way for you to eliminate any forfeits is the default option, and what the default option is an option for you to call the intramural office by 3 p.m. on the day of the game or by noon on Friday for Sunday games and notify the intramural sports office in regards to the fact that you will not be there. And if you do that, then no fee will be charged to you. Teams, you can only do that one time. If you have 2 defaults, then you will be dropped from the league. If you have a combination of 1 default and 1 forfeit, you will also be eliminated from the league. Also, if you have already registered a team and scheduling has already begun and you drop out, you will receive a $20 drop fee unless there is a team that can be placed in your spot. And this fee will be waived if there is a team on the waiting list available for the vacancy. There are two types of protests that we will recognize. The first protest is player eligibility. If you are going to protest a player's eligibility, you must be able to identify who the person is and why they're ineligible. The second type of protest is a rule interpretation, and this must be at the time of the incident, and this does not include the judgment call of an official. What this means is that if you and the official have differing opinion on the judgment of a call, you are not allowed to protest that. However, if you guys agree on the judgment, however disagree on the rule interpretation, you are allowed to protest that. If the rule interpretation goes in your favor, then the protest will be upheld. A protest form must be filled out, and it must happen at the time of the incident. And you must submit that between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. the next working day following the incident. The rescheduling process, if for some reason you know that you will not be able to make a game, you do not necessarily have to default. We do have a rescheduling option. This must be completed by 5 p.m. the day prior to the originally scheduled game. If it is for a Sunday game, it must be done by Thursday. If you want to reschedule, the captain may pick up a reschedule form from the office, which has all the information in regards to when you could potentially reschedule. Both captains must agree on a time that is available and either come into the office and sign the reschedule form, or both must send an email to request the rescheduled slot. It may not be done over the phone, and once again, this has to be completed 5 p.m. the day prior to the originally scheduled game. In regards to team names, we do want you guys to be creative. With that, there are certain restrictions in regards to team names. They should not contain profanity, sexual innuendo, or racial slurs. If we feel that the team name is inappropriate, we will remove that team name from the scheduling software and ask you to submit another name. At this time, I'm going to give you the code that is going to be on the quiz. This is very important. You must have this code in order to pass the quiz. And the code is JAWMRP73. Once again, it is JAWMRP73. And there will be a question on the quiz in which you have to use this code. You must have this code in order to pass the quiz. Depending on what sport you're in, there are specific uniform policies as well as jewelry. Jewelry is prohibited from any sports activities. However, there are some specific uniform policies for each sport. So if you have any questions, you can go under sports rules under the Intramural website and look to see if there's any specific uniform rules. For example, in flag football, you are not allowed to have pockets. That's only the case in flag football and not necessarily the case in other sports. So please make sure you check the rules. Also, placing tape or bandage over jewelry is not allowed. As far as religious medallions or medical alert bracelets, it's fine to tape over those, and those will be acceptable as long as they are taped over. Sportsmanship is expected of all participants, and this is something as a captain that you can really help us with. A lot of times they follow your lead, and sportsmanship is very important to us, and it also affects the playoff seeding. So please communicate that with your team. We want everybody to have a good time. Every game, teams will be rated by the officials, and they will receive a sportsmanship rating. 3 is acceptable sportsmanship, 2 is unacceptable, and 1 is forfeiture. 2 ratings of 2 or below constitutes the team being eliminated. And so if you are viewed as having unacceptable sportsmanship for 2 games, you will forfeit the game and will lose.
2 ratings of 2 or below constitutes a team being eliminated from further competition in that sport. If a team happens to receive a 2 during the playoffs, that team may be eliminated from the playoffs based on the review by the intramural staff, and that's based on a case-by-case basis. There are certain points in time in the intramural sports season when players are ejected from a contest. If this happens, the player that's ejected must set up an appointment with the sport manager before they are able to play in any further games. Once that meeting occurs, typically what happens is that the player that's ejected will serve his or her suspension, which is typically 1 game depending on the severity of the situation. And once they serve that suspension, then they are good to go for the remainder of the sports season. However, if a game is ended because of unsportsmanlike conduct by the entire team, the team will be suspended from their next scheduled game. Roster additions may be done in a variety of ways, including online at ecu.edu/intramurals, with the scorekeeper or official at the activity site, or in the intramural office located in the Student Rec Center room 207. The two main stipulations of roster additions is that they must be done prior to playing in a game, and that no player may be added to the roster after the team's last regular season contest. At that time, all rosters are frozen for the remainder of the playoffs. Intramural Sports does recognize coaches. However, coaches must sign in on the score sheet, although they are not considered a member of the team. They are not allowed to call timeouts. They may not confer with officials. However, their behavior may affect the sportsmanship rating of the team. Restricted players. There are many different ways for an ECU student, faculty, and staff to be ineligible from your particular intramural sports team. A person may play for only one team during the sports season. A male may only play for a men's or a fraternity team, and a female may play for a women's or a sorority team during a single sports season. However, there are two exceptions to this rule. One being that a participant may play on one co-rec team in addition to the one single gender team during the same sports season. So participants may add to a men's or women's team as well as play for a co-rec team. Also, the second exception is that a female may participate on a men's league team if a women's league is not available, and a male may participate in a women's team if a men's league is not available, as well as the additional co-rec team like was stated before. There are also restricted players that refers to students or faculty and staff who were listed on a varsity roster at the collegiate level at any time during the previous academic year, or current members of the club sport team in their corresponding sport. Teams are restricted to having either of the following three situations: one former varsity player, or one academically ineligible varsity player, or two current club sports players from the corresponding sport. Remember that current club sport players is any participant that was on a club sport roster at any point in time during the academic year of 2012 and 2013. There are certain times when participants are considered restricted players, and we want to go over that in a little bit more detail. A person may play for only one team during the sports season. There is a co-rec exception saying that you can play for one men or women's team and a co-rec team. Also, as far as restricted players go, it refers to students or faculty and staff who were listed on a varsity roster at the collegiate level at any time the previous academic year, or it also involves club sport team members in the corresponding sport. Team members are restricted to having either of these three options: one former varsity player from the previous academic year, or one current academically ineligible varsity player, or two current club sport players from the corresponding sport. As far as the current club sport players, you are considered to be a current club sport player if you are on a club sport roster at any point in time during the current academic year. The Intramural Sports Department does offer a free agent list for teams who are in need of extra players and individuals who are looking to pick up on teams. You can find players and or add to a free agent list at the website listed on the screen. Just click on the free agent tab on the left hand side of the page. Another way to either add on free agents or to be picked up on a team is to just show up at the field or court when that sport or activity is playing, and just find out if and when teams need players. Or at a captain's meeting, we do have free agents that do show up, and you're able to pick them up at that point in time. There are points in time when inclement weather is an issue within the Intramural Sports Department. If there is a question regarding whether or not we are going to play based on the current weather situations, it is recommended that you call the CRW weather hotline at 328-6443, or you can check out the Intramural website, or you may indeed check out our Facebook or Twitter accounts. If games are postponed due to the weather, it is the team's responsibility to check the web for reschedule information. The majority of the time, the reschedule information will be done by noon the next day. Another responsibility as an intramural sports team captain is to know and disseminate all sport rules for the given activity. All of the activity rules are based on a national governing body for that sport with certain intramural modification. Each captain is responsible for reviewing, knowing, and disseminating the specific sport rules to their teammates. Specific sport rules can be found at our website, ecu.edu/intramurals, under the Sport Rules tab. We want to now talk a little bit about playoff information. All teams that qualify for playoffs will follow these guidelines. Playoffs matchups will be based upon the regular season computer rankings. However, the intramural sports staff does have the right to modify the matchups to avoid scheduling conflicts. One thing to add about scheduling conflicts: if the majority of your players have an academic or religious conflict, you may let us know at least 48 hours prior to the release of the playoff schedules, and we would do our best job in order to avoid those conflicts. Please make note that these efforts will be made. However, requests do not guarantee that there will be no conflicts. Playoff schedule will be posted on the Intramural website under the Schedules and Results tab, as well as on the Intramural bulletin boards next to Fitness Studio 240 in the Student Rec Center. There's a couple different options to be able to register for an intramural sport. One would have been to attend the captain's meeting, sign up on the captain's list, and pick up your ID card and password in order to register via our online registration module. Since you were unable to attend, please be aware of the following steps, as you need to complete all of these in order to register your team in the Intramural Sports registration module. One would have been to email John Wall to be added to the waiting list, which you should have already done. You were then added to the Blackboard class. You are now currently watching the captain's meeting video. The next couple steps would be to complete the captain's quiz, and then you would email the Intramural Sports office upon completion of the quiz, and then at that point in time receive your ID card and password. All of those steps in that order have to occur before you will be able to register your intramural sports team for the upcoming activities. To continue the registration process, you will receive an email from John Wall with these instructions once you have completed the captain's quiz. However, make sure that you have all your players' first as well as last names, as well as their banner ID numbers prior to registering your team. The key point there is to replace the B in your banner number with the number 8. You will then enter your team name as well as the league choice. Most leagues play on certain days and times, so please go to the calendar of activities under the Intramural Sports website. Print off the info sheets will have all of the different days, times, and locations that each league plays. And lastly, Intramural Sports also employs over 100 people each academic year. We are always in search of officials and scorekeepers. There's no experience necessary. We do have a competitive pay and flexible hours. You are also able to play and work within our department. If you or someone you know is interested, please visit the Intramural Sports website and click the Employment tab for more information. We have reached the conclusion of the Intramural Sports video. Please email John Wall at walljo@ecu.edu once you have completed your captain's meeting quiz. If you have any further questions, please email us at imsports@ecu.edu.